Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast. It is a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. I'd like to extend my gratitude in you listening to this podcast. It means everything to me, and I hope it is clear that this subject matter is so important to me. I care about our people, our future, and making a positive change in this nation.
This episode is powered by Poddex.
Do you find it difficult to come up with content ideas for your podcast? Or perhaps you've gotten stuck during an interview with a guest where you just have nothing more to ask? Try Poddex today. Poddex is the best all-in-one podcast idea generation tool. You get everything from episode ideas to interesting conversation starters for interviews, engaging discussions for your live streams, and even social media content ideas. With this tool, you don't have to spend weeks trying to come up with content for an episode or unique questions for your guests. Just shuffle the cards, pick one at random, hit the record button, and get started. Now you can make better content, have more fun while you're at it, and get your viral moment. All with Poddex. Head over to poddex.com and use code C4C. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast. Today we have a special guest, Al Pete, who is a hip-hop musician, podcaster, journalist, and the founder of Mr. Peterson's Neighborhood, the MPN Network. He also is a fellow member of the Content Creators of Color Collective, and he has agreed to join me today to discuss some interesting topics and share about his podcast projects. Welcome to the show, Al.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, definitely. So, before we discuss your podcast projects, I'm excited to hear about that. You have an entire network, so it's just really exciting. I was taking a look at all of the things that your network has, and you're actually included on most of them. So it's like, wow, how do you have time to do all of this stuff? How do you have time to do all of this stuff? But it's so exciting. But anyway, before we get into that, I want to pick your brain about some of these topics out in the news right now. So this Joe Rogan topic, which is really, interesting to a podcaster. So I want to see what you thought about that. So initially the concern came from the musicians, Neil Young, and Joni Mitchell, India.Arie. I guess the concern from Neil Young, Joni Mitchell was about his comments about COVID. And, he's made these really outlandish comments about COVID initially. And so based on that, they wanted their music removed. And then we hear about the racism the racist comments that he's made, the India.Arie put out on social media, and it's really been all over the place now. And he's finally made an apology, and Spotify has taken 100 episodes or so down, but still not separated themselves from him completely. And then another interesting thing about the India.Arie part was that she broke down that, he's getting paid $100 million, where the musicians and podcasters don't, their break or payout is so much lower and different. What is your opinion of this matter with Joe Rogan?
So, I read about, they're dedicating like $100 million to marginalized people and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's another response they've come back with.
So with that one right there, I'm like, I just feel like we're being pacified with that. Like, I'm like, like with anything. I mean, I do have my feelings when it comes to representation, when it comes to us. Granted, I love to see us being represented correctly and being put in that place. But I do feel like a lot of it is like pacifying us. I feel like a lot of it is like, let's just give this to them so they can be quiet. And I'm like, no, I don't agree with that. Like, it goes way beyond the money. Some people are cool with that, but me, right. I'm kind of iffy about that. So why all of a sudden now you want to give us $100 million and it goes in support of marginalized people when Joe Rogan should be like reprimanded to the highest degree, and it doesn't make it any fair that it's that amount because Joe Rogan got that amount when he jumped on Spotify. So now you're gonna split the same amount in the midst of thousands of creators and all that stuff. I just feel like that's kind of pacifying. I feel like that's kind of like a slap in the face. I think about the Oprah Winfrey situation that just happened, right? I'm like, darn, they really slapped her on the hand.
Wait, you mean Whoopi Goldberg?
No, not Oprah Winfrey. I'm sorry, Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah. So
that situation, I'm like, I'm going to compare it to the Joe Rogan situation, and I'm like, Oprah Winfrey, Whoopi Goldberg was stating a case that was subjective. You know what I'm saying? That was her thoughts. Maybe she shouldn't have said it on TV, but I don't feel like she really said too much of anything wrong, so to say. But the way that they like reprimanded her was like, put 2 weeks down. We're going to sit you down so you can reflect this, that, and the third. But then you got Joe Rogan over here like using the N-word.
Yeah, rampantly.
All this disrespectful stuff. And then all you do is just you go through, what was it, like 7 episodes? And I'm like, what? Like,
right. The ones they took down were the ones that were like the hotter, I guess the more offensive ones. That, yeah.
And I just think that's not fair. I think that's not fair. I do support, the artists not wanting to be on that platform because of that situation, because Spotify should have took a bigger stance on that.
Right. And I saw that it's affecting their stock. Like it took a hit. So they, had to come up with some response. And so, like you said, their response is a little weak. And then I also saw that the Obamas are looking to move their podcast relationship from them. So, I don't know if that's going to mean anything.
I don't know either. My thing is, I don't know if it's going to, at the end of the day, hurt Spotify.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the problem that I have. I just don't think there's no type of, I don't want to say intense, but yes, intense reparations for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes everything okay. It makes him, Joe Rogan, feel like he can do and say whatever he wants to say, regardless if it was a racial or like, a serious situation like COVID. But it just gives him like the pass for him to say, "Oh, well, I'm sorry. I hope I don't offend you guys." And I'm like, and it's like, "Okay, well, we'll take the episodes down." I'm like,
yeah,
makes no sense. It's not doing anything, and I
right.
Like that.
And it was a weak apology because he started off by saying, "Well, black people say the N-word all the time." And it was just like, okay, what about what you just said? Like, can we have accountability for what you said? So,
I can't believe he said that. Like, that sounds like a totally ignorant thing to say. Like, oh, well, black people say it. I mean, we have our own personal attachments to it, and even between us, I'm learning how to not say the N-word as much and try to remove it totally. Because, it's an endearment, but at the same time, too, I don't want to use it, and I want to be a better example for my people around me and just cut it out completely.
Right.
But for him to be like, oh, well, black people say, like, everybody gonna say what they want to say.
And that Planet of the Apes comment was just as offensive, if you ask me. So, or worse, really. Like, yeah. So,
I don't like that, and I guess they done with it. I guess it's all said and done now. I mean, they didn't suspend him; they just took the episodes down, and that was that, huh? Like,
right? Yeah.
And people just gonna be removing themselves from the platform, but I just don't feel like Spotify gonna really get really feel anything unless everybody just be like, "Oh, I'm taking it off." But
right, because we still like some of the major artists who haven't really, they've been silent on this. So, like we haven't heard from India.Arie in a minute, and here she come. We're glad to hear from her, but where are some of the other loud voices in the music industry? It would be nice to hear what they have to say too. But
right. Right, exactly. Like I mean, like the Megans and the pop stars, the Billie Eilish, all that.
Right.
Like those people for sure. But I don't know, man.
Definitely.
That's crazy. They gonna. I mean, I just feel like nothing gonna change with that, and I hate that that's the case. But I guess find another home or whatever. I mean, we're at a point where we can have our own platforms. I mean,
that's true. And I guess they are going to gauge it by the response and the pressure. So I think like they're looking to see like how it's, people are reacting to this and if people are just going to let it go by. And I think like some of the radio hosts are like, oh, everybody said something crazy in there. And I'm like, wow, like, so he is kind of getting a pass from a lot of people in the industry on this. So, yeah.
It's unfortunate.
It is. And then this other topic I wanted to run by you, since we are in the month of February, which is Black History Month.
Out of all months, this is going down. This is going down.
Yeah. So in the good state of Massachusetts, there was a school that decided to serve fried chicken to celebrate Black History Month for lunch. So this Catholic school in Massachusetts made this decision to serve fried chicken to celebrate the start of Black History Month, and it's heard some criticism from the students, and it's been talked about on a lot of radio shows and such. What do you think about that? Is that kind of tone deaf? Is fried chicken equate Black history? Like, this is not soul food. We're talking just Black history. So,
I just think that's pure ignorance, man.
Yeah.
Is this a high school or Catholic school? It's like, so I don't want to get too deep into it, but
yes, it was
board school, okay, high school or whatnot,
right? And then supposedly it was a Black lady in the kitchen that they asked, and she said, "Let's make some fried chicken" or something like she suggested it, like she's the Yeah, but the administration did apologize after they received the criticism, obviously. So
I just don't understand why they wouldn't think they would get criticism. I think at this point, it's just crazy how like in 2022 we still trying to like teach people how to do like the basic things when it comes to like Black History Month or just Black people, period. And I think that's the part, because I understand the educational aspect of things. I've been trying to adapt that a lot with my business, and when it comes to certain things, I do understand there is an education factor. So a lot of people, respectfully, they don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like people are in their own worlds. Just like
that's true.
Black folks are in their own world from time to time. We go to when we was growing up, we went to the same church, same school, same grocery store. We probably, it's not too many people that are like diverse like that, if that makes sense. So a lot of people don't know the ins and outs of how these people run, unless you're watching on TV and media.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's very clear when it comes to chicken and the toneness of how chicken relates to Black people. You know what I'm saying? Like I think everybody knows that. Like,
well,
I just don't understand why. And then another thing too, I don't understand why chicken was like the thing to promote Black history. Like we eat chicken, like everybody eats chicken any other day. Like
it's a Southern comfort food. Like it's really just a Southern, like just I don't know.
Like nobody can say, well, we're gonna pick a scientist and we're gonna learn how to make, I don't know, like a scientist that created something like a George Washington Carver and find out what he was, known for, or find a person that what they're known for and like elevate that.
Right.
Like down here in Jacksonville, we had to, lift every voice and sing. That was written by James Will Johnson, and he was here in Jacksonville. He was born in Jacksonville. So
yeah.
So of course we're gonna be singing "Lift Every Voice" and saying everywhere. I don't care if it's trap way, I don't care if it's country way or whatever. But as long as we celebrate that part, but we're not gonna be like, oh, we're gonna get some chicken and throw a cookout and nah, we ain't doing all that.
And even if it is chicken being served, it's not like on the program or something. I don't know, like.
Right. Like we're not going. Yeah, we're not going. It sounded like it was an announcement made, like a big announcement, like, "Hey, February 1st is Black History Month, so today on the lunch menu we gonna have fried chicken."
And that's what they did. That's what they did.
And then the black lady, I mean, I could just imagine that black lady, the one that, I guess she's the one that cooked it correctly.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
She probably, you know what? I can see her being funny about that. Like, I can see her like joking off, being like, and I'm gonna tell these, you know what? Don't cut the chicken. No, you know what I'm saying? They probably took that literally and was like, let me just let me make these chickens and take it literal. I can see that happening, but at the same time too, I could just see pure ignorance on that.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah, that was interesting. Let's go into a few of the questions from Poddex, which have some interesting conversation starters that people can turn to for podcast interviews or game nights and things of that nature. So here's a good one. What is the most important thing to carry with you all the time?
My chapstick, my lip balm. It is, right? Well, I don't know if y'all can see it, but yeah, my lip balm. So I switched from like the typical one, but I feel like if I walk out the house and I don't have this in my pocket, I'm going crazy. I mean, of course, I'm gonna stop by the store immediately and buy me another one, but
yeah,
this is like an essential. I have to have. Like,
okay.
I have to have that.
Yeah, it's like a grooming item, but you know.
Yeah, and I've gotten into the grooming. I mean, I've been in it for a minute, but I think I've resurfaced that feeling again. So I'm like all on the shea butters and the colognes and stuff like that in the grooming. So I'm real big on that. So lip balm, yeah, I gotta have that. I gotta apply to my lips so it stay unchapped.
Okay. And then what is the nicest, this is the one I was looking for. What is the nicest thing a stranger has ever done for you?
So, yeah, okay. So years ago, I had an event and I brought down, me and a couple of my friends, we brought down Ninth Wonder, Fonte, and like Rhapsody. Rhapsody was like big. 2012. So I hired this catering people and they flaked on me the day of, like that morning. For like the VIP, because they had like the artists have riders or whatever. So I was outside of the club, like arguing, like mad as all outdoors because it had happened.
Yeah.
And this lady, and I know her to this day. She was a blessing, but at the time I didn't know her. And she walked by and was like, she overheard me say that, and she went home. Her and her sister, they made like all the food that I needed.
Oh, wow.
Out of the blue. And it was just, it was a good bit of food, you know what I'm saying? But for her to like say, hey, okay, don't worry about it. I'm going to go home and fix this food and bring it back. I thought that was like the greatest thing ever. And I was just like, yo, I owe you so much. But, that was the biggest thing.
Oh, wow. Just like with not a whole lot of notice, too. That's...
Nah, because it was like Saturday, maybe like 10 or 11. And I was outside arguing, like, what we gonna do? And I think she might have been coming out of the next building or something like that and overheard me, like, arguing. Because I was pretty loud. And, like, she walked over like, yo, you good? You okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. But I need this, and this. And she was just like, all right, well, me and my sister starting a catering business. And their catering business is, like, doing really, really good right now.
Oh, wow. That's exciting.
Okay. I know, yeah. So for her to just be like, yo, I'm gonna work this out for you.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And she called me like maybe like 2 hours before the show started. Was like, yo, I'm outside. And had like pans of food, everything that I needed, because they had a rider too. So it wasn't like just bring some chicken and some chicken, some fried chicken.
Right.
It was like I needed certain types of food.
That's cool. And you did pay her, right?
Absolutely, man. I took her so hard that even to this day, like I just try to send her leads. I just try to. I mean, you know, she's busy. I'm busy, but we talk often. We check up on each other, and I send my blessings every time. And like I said, that was 2012, so we've been knowing each other for a solid 10 years.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so it's every time she has like an event, I'll try to go there. If I can't go, I just buy a ticket and sponsor it. Something, you know what I'm saying? But I definitely made sure she could have took my whole wallet that day.
Wow, that's a great story. That makes me think about your gratitude Thursdays. Is that what you call it?
Thankful Thursdays.
Oh, Thankful Thursdays. That's awesome.
It's the same thing. Gratitude, thankful. Yeah. That's why stuff like that make you think like.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I love to hear things like that. Now, tell us about your podcast network and how that got started.
Long story short, my friend, Adriana Sequel, she has a show called Strong Friend Check-In.
Oh.
Yeah, when you said it earlier, I was like, oh. Yeah. But she was starting a podcast, and she wanted me to be the first person on the show. The first guest. So the studio she was recording, waiting on her. They didn't even show up. So I had like, but it was just for me. And I was like, I was podcasting in there. We recorded her. His show called The Blunt. Another homegirl that had a show. So I was like, it's basically 4 of us. Might as well turn this into a network. And then I just kind of like, I kind of just moved in that because I wanted to see that happen here in Jacksonville. I'm like, let me get we need a hub for podcasters.
Awesome. Because you've been doing this a really long time, too. We'll be sure to have those links posted, guys, so we can check out the projects that Al has with his team. Definitely sounds dope, so we want to check those out. And thank you for sharing. At this time, we're going to go ahead and conclude the episode. We greatly appreciate you listening. We invite you to follow us on social media. On Instagram, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. On Twitter, it is Woke by. On Facebook, it is Woke by Accident Podcast. We also have the new website up, www.wokebyaccident.net. Please check us out and also follow us on all of your favorite streaming platforms, and please leave a review and share feedback. You can also reach out by Gmail, wokebyaccident@gmail.com. And every time you listen, we appreciate it so much. Thank you for listening and take care.